Hi, I'm Celeste Messer. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the story of how Patrick's Garden came about. In 2012, one of my daughters, I have four, my second one's Alina, she said, why don't we each write a book this year? Not together, but each write our own separate book as our New Year's resolution. So I hadn't written in 10 years, since the day, literally, that my husband asked for a divorce, because writing kind of opens me up. And when he asked for a divorce, I kind of went in my shell. I was ready to write again. And the first book I wrote was called Imperfect Rose. The story is about a mother named Maggie who has, she's in her 50s, she's a realtor, and she has 4 daughters. Now, I happen to be a realtor. I have 4 daughters. It was clearly I was writing what I knew. The title came from Patrick, which was their father, who has passed away before the story begins. And the 4 sisters are Rose, the eldest, Lily, then Violet, and then Daisy. And Patrick was a gardener, and that's how their names came about. Even though Patrick isn't a part of the story actively, it's very clear through the storyline that he had an impact on their lives. And I won't say much more than that at this point. But the story centers around Maggie and Rose. Rose is the eldest. She's the most competitive. She is probably the most insecure of the 4 girls. And she went away to New York to establish herself and a new identity as a corporate executive. And she gets a call that her mother's had an accident and is in a coma. She returns home reluctantly to help out. Now when Maggie wakes up, she has retrograde amnesia, and she thinks she's 22. So not only does she not recognize her daughters when she looks in the mirror, she doesn't recognize herself, and she doesn't understand what happened to her life. The last thing she remembers, she was in love and getting married to someone other than the man who was the girl's father. Now the girls have to reintroduce themselves to their mother. At the same time, they get to know their mother, not as mom, but as Maggie, a woman with dreams of her own. They get to know each other in a way they didn't before. And Rose is forced to get to know her sisters, and she thought she had it all figured out, and she finds out, in fact, she didn't. There's a little bit of a twist in the story. I won't give it all away, but Maggie insists on finding out what happened, why the man of her dreams is no longer a part of her life. There is again a twist, some turns, there's a romance. When all is said and done, it's about family love. Though I tried not to have the 4 sisters too much like my 4 daughters or my 3 sisters, it still bled through. The interesting thing for me is when I look back on it, it wasn't intentional, but Rose and Maggie kind of represent me before and now. I was a corporate executive. I was making 6 figures. I always had a suit on, and the makeup and the big earrings and the high heels. It was part of my armor, basically. It was a role I played, and that's pretty much what Rose has done. Where on Maggie, I feel like I woke up at 60 and look in the mirror and like, God, where'd the years go? Where'd the wrinkles come from? Why is my life like this when I thought at 60 I'd be traveling the world with my husband? It allowed me to see both sides. Now, there's a piece of me in each of the sisters, but probably identified most with Rose and Maggie's storyline. After the book was done, I wanted to know more about what happened to the other sisters, and my daughters wanted to know more. And though I tried again to separate it, each of them related to a different sister. And it's interesting, again, it wasn't originally planned, but we have Rose, who's tall, statuesque, but with prickly thorns. She kind of antagonized people. She was intimidating. We have Lily, who was the model, the beautiful one of the sisters. Then we have Violet, who's the sweet one, the sensitive one. And then we have Daisy, who's the rebel and the fun-loving and the one everyone is drawn to. So it really kind of fit their names, and that was fun. I'd really love it if you read it, love it if you make a comment, love it if you find your purple. What if you have found it, tell us what it is, put it in the comments. And as always, come back Mondays and Fridays where we'll share products, reviews, tips, ideas, things that can help women over 60 feel better, look better, and live life to the fullest. In the meantime, grab your tea, sit back, and let's share.